I hear it all the time in practice, guys. Losing weight is so difficult. I don't know how many patients I've sat with that are frustrated at their wits' end and literally feel like nothing they do is working. Well, in this video, I want to share with you a secret reason why you might not be losing weight, and one I feel like doesn't really get talked about very much. So losing weight is not just about calories in and calories out. There are multiple players. Some of the players we've talked about before, one of which is the gut, what your gut health is doing, your liver health, and are you able to detox or not, your pancreas and what your insulin and blood sugar levels are doing, along with are you producing digestive enzymes. I talk about a lot of this in some of my other videos, so check those out to learn more about some of those pieces of the puzzle. But the secret that many people are not talking about is a little hormone called leptin. Have you guys heard about leptin? I feel like I don't hear much conversation around it, but it's really important. So leptin is a hormone. It's actually produced by our fat cells, again, big word time, a word called adipocytes, and by our small intestine. So this hormone is getting produced, so the more weight we store is sort of the fat that we hold on to, the higher leptin goes. Well, here's how it's supposed to work. When leptin is high, your hunger should calm down. It should signal like, oh, I don't need to eat anymore, I'm not hungry. That's really what should be happening. But so many people, and I know this because I get to check labs in practice, it's pretty fascinating, but so many people have tons of leptin, but they still have so many issues with hunger. They're hungry all the time, they have trouble controlling their appetite, or the reverse, they're not hungry at all, and they end up sort of reducing and really affecting their metabolic rate. Now, why is some of that happening? Well, it's a phenomenon called leptin resistance. This is the connection. Leptin is the connection between your gut and your brain and your appetite and what you do or do not want to eat. Why do people get leptin resistance? Well, we have lots of theories. Some of those theories, again, are environmental. Some of them have to do with food quality. Some of them simply have to do with our hormones and how the entire hormone pattern is working together. But here's the good news. We can change leptin resistance. We can sort of recognize, measure, and test for this, and then in turn help us to all lose weight. So first of all, let's just talk about lab work, because you can go into your doctor and ask for a leptin level, and we want that leptin level under 20. Here's what I found. Anytime somebody's leptin level is greater than 20, going into the 30s or 40s, they have a ton of leptin resistance. They can no longer rely on their appetite to tell them when to eat. Here's what we have to do instead. Here are 5 ways to beat leptin resistance. Number 1, we've got to pump the protein. The protein is so important. What it does is it brings insulin down, it brings blood sugar levels down, it activates muscle synthesis, meaning we're holding on to the muscle that we have and maybe even building more muscle if you guys are working out and hitting the gym. So we want to get about 25 to 30 grams of protein every 4 hours to make that happen. And you're like, that's a lot of food. I'm not hungry for that food. I hear that one all the time too. It doesn't matter. Set your phone, set an alarm, make it go off, get that amount of food in, and then in turn set a 12-hour fast so that your body can rest, the gut can rest, and doesn't have to do the work. Fiber. So many people with leptin resistance are not getting the fiber that they need. And fiber, remember, helps to slow down how fast things travel through the gut. Fiber helps to bring down leptin production in the small intestine, right? Back to gut health being a big part of this equation. So getting that fiber in becomes equally important. Now, naturally, we can do that if we're getting about 6 to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables in per day, whole fruits and whole vegetables. But if that's too hard to do, you're running around, you've got 40 things on your list, it's just hard to make it happen. I've had those days for sure. Then instead, think about adding in an additional tablespoon of psyllium husk or a tablespoon of ground flax seeds. These are supplemental sources of fiber that will help us to bring leptin down. All right, we've talked about protein, we've talked about fiber, we've talked about gut timing, meaning keeping that 12-hour fast. Let's go to the next rule, upping the water. We need water for so many reasons, but one reason is it helps to manage the hunger hormone. So it helps that gut-brain connection. We hear about, again, this is one that I think we hear about water because it keeps us hydrated, it helps our skin or our hair or our muscles or all these other things. It actually helps the gut. So when we don't have enough water, again, we're forcing these leptin levels up, we're storing more fat, and the body, the gut, the liver, the pancreas can't hum along like we want them to. So again, now I think we're at rule number 4. I hope I'm counting correctly, but rule number 4 is getting that water up to where it needs to be, usually about 100 ounces a day for most adults. Again, hard one to remember. Get that jug. My daughter has that gigantic gallon jug and she carries it around. If that's too much for you, just measure it out at the beginning of your day, because that's the way I can sort of keep track of what I'm doing and make sure you've had enough water throughout the day. I think the phone is a wonderful tool to remind us to drink some of the stuff and do some of the stuff, because I get busy. I know you guys get busy too, and we're juggling and trying to do 50 things at one time. So thinking protein, water, fiber, not really realistic. All right, moving on from that, sleep. So there's a huge correlation between sleep cycles, altered sleep cycles, and leptin resistance. And here's the relationship. When we sleep, we rest, we get the gut rest. It works like a detox. We're basically allowing the liver to reset. We bring blood sugar levels back down, and we allow leptin to reset. So if we're not getting 7 to 8 hours of consistent sleep at night, and that's 90 minutes of deep sleep and 90 minutes of REM sleep, then we're gonna have a situation where we're running with higher than average blood sugars, and then over time we develop leptin resistance. So sleep is a big piece of this puzzle and helps to manage leptin. Now, in addition to sort of these 4 or 5 rules, there's so many other things you can do to bring leptin down. We know that strength training makes a difference. We know that there are leptin supplements that help to manage leptin resistance to a certain extent. Most of those are focused right around insulin as well. So things like berberine, which help to regulate insulin. That's a natural herb that I love using in practice. That's a good one. And then getting the right probiotics in your system as well help to bring insulin down. In addition to that, blood sugar managers like alpha lipoic acid, carnitine, they will also help to manage and regulate insulin. Now, if you're still really struggling with appetite and you're still really struggling with hunger, then there are medications that help, but those really need a conversation with your doctor. There are things that help to decrease cravings, and a lot of those medications, there's a whole host of them, but a lot of them are Band-Aids, right? We only want to do them for a very short period of time, maybe 30 days, 60 days at the most, but then we really want to get your brain and your gut to reset so that you're able to eat naturally and recognize hunger cues and not rely on medications or even supplements for that matter. All right, I hope this was helpful in understanding the secret reason why you may not be losing weight. It's all about leptin. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the button below, and remember, I post new videos every week. I know that we all need to be motivated and a community to stay superpowered. Don't forget to join my Superwoman Circle, where together we will take on any challenges that come up as we all juggle our multiple responsibilities.